Hey there guys, and we got another 3 games to go over today, and I'd say it was a pretty decent day. We got a lot of goals, and we got a lot of good stories here, a lot that are going to have a lot of people turning their backs on some kids going, why the hell did I say that? Yeah, a lot of people that are just going to be proven wrong in this episode. We're going to start off first though with our first game here, the United States versus the Czech Republic. Czechs obviously is coming off that 2-0 win over the Russians, an absolute upset. You know, the States did lose to the Russians, maybe they can do them even worse. And in the first period, the Czechs were playing that exact same style against Russia, that not give an inch and then try to capitalize off of a rush. They were doing it pretty well in the first period, nothing really happened. They actually outshot the Americans 10-8, I'm pretty sure. But in the second period, Bobby Brink, the Flyers prospect, pounces on one right in the crease there. A little bit of a dirty one, but of course it's going to count. You need one of those to break past this pretty solid decor that the Czechs have set up here. And yeah, that was an easy one to get the Americans on the board, 1-0. Later in the second, once again, just look at this one. This is the Anaheim Ducks connection here. Henry Thrun, no look pass. He finds Trevor Zegras there, and yeah, just it barely even has to put any pepper on that. Just kind of slides it in there to make it 2-0. Zegras had the really good entry there. He really started that, but yeah, him and Thrun, what a play. And then shortly after, Bobby Brink once again, pretty much the same goal, hopping up over Lucas Perique there to get his second of the night, his second of the tournament. That one was really kind of already the nail in the coffin for the Czechs, because they entered the third period, and once again, like they did in the game against Sweden, they just become so stagnant and so boring. They just kind of start standing around and loafing around. Like, I'm sorry if you're a Czech Republic fan, but like these guys just were not trying, and it really was upsetting me. At the beginning of the third though, yeah, Trevor Zegras wires home his 5th goal of the tournament. He wasn't even done through the rest of the night there. Arthur Kaliev would rip one of his own. And then Cole Caulfield, his first of the tournament here. I actually really like this goal there. He snuck behind the Czech defender there, walks in, blasts it 5-hole. It was a pretty nice one. And then Matthew Boldy, look at this at the very end. They were trying to pull Lucas Perique, but they weren't allowed because it was on an icing. They got a penalty for it. And right before they could get rid of Lucas Perique, Matthew Boldy has to do this to them. The second through the legs goal the Czechs have surrendered in this tournament. That was a nice goal though. Got to give Matthew Boldy some props there. The Americans would seal up the 7-0 victory against the Czechs. I wouldn't call that an upset by any means, but I would say that was obviously a bit more than I expected. The Americans there, once they get a hold of any of their opponents there, it's just game over. So many offensive utilities they can be using. Zegras ended up tallying 5 points that game though, the 2 goals and 3 assists, 2 of them being primary. Man, he leads the tournament with 10 points. Man, he's been unstoppable. Just absolutely crazy. And then we would hop into our second game today, Canada versus Switzerland. Canada getting a lot of criticism though. Only after that 3-1 win over the Slovaks, and then most notably players like Quinton Byfield, only 1 point in the tournament so far. I can't believe people are doing this, but they're gonna bite their tongue. I'm telling you, this is a crazy game. It would all start off bright and early in the first there. Philip Tomasino off of a pass from Byfield. Nice little primary assist there, just a nice little dish. Tomasino would rip it left side on Noah Patinod, who's coming in for Thibaut Fatin. They're resting him up for the next game. And honestly, that was kind of it for the first period, though. Canada was peppering them in their own end, but once again, they weren't able to get anything going. They had a 5-on-3, and it's honestly one of the worst 5-on-3s I've ever seen in my life. They couldn't do anything. Looked like a house team out there. It wasn't looking too good. But in the second period, it would turn up. It would turn up really, really, really well. Cousins would hop over Patinode for the second goal for the Canadians, and then shortly after, again, Jacob Pelletier, off of a nice little move by Quinton Byfield at the blue line, and then a missed shot by Connor Zary, hops on the rebound on the boards, and then Ryan Suzuki, greasy one on the rebound, and then Connor McMichael with an absolute one-timer there off the feed from Cousins, a nice one to make it 5-0 at the end of the second. And then early on in the third, the goals would not stop coming. Quinton Byfield, here's that goal. Nice little tip off of the Jamie Drysdale shot. That was a really nice one in my opinion. And then right away, after everyone was flaunting over, he's got 4 points by the way in this game. He's got 4 at the moment. Look at this one here, an absolute beautiful dish from Jack Quinn right to the stick of Byfield, who one times it past Patinode, just a lovely one. He's got 5 points now in the game. And then the 18-year-olds, they weren't even done. Here's Cole Perfetti showing off that shot he has. Really underrated shot Cole Perfetti has. That one hit the back bar there, that nice clunk sound everyone loves. And then we would get another one. Caden Gooley, the Montreal Canadiens prospect, absolutely destroys one. Just destroys this one. It's probably one of the harder shots I've seen in the tournament to make it 9-0. And then Jacob Pelletier, the Calgary Flames prospect, would put home another one, and wouldn't you know, assisted by Quinton Byfield. 6 points. 6 points after everyone was ripping on him for not getting enough points. Just proving the haters wrong. Just basically telling them this.
Shut up, man! Go back on your old ways!
Just for reference too, the Canadians are 29-3 when it comes to goals for and goals against. That's absolutely insane. Their next game is against Finland, and that's going to be a really big one there because those are two teams, you know, they had to play all these kind of like crummy teams, and now they got to play each other. I think it should still be a pretty good game, but the real wake-up call is going to be the quarterfinal game that they play on January 2nd. Our final game of the night was expected to be an absolute blowout, Russia versus Austria. And early on, it was looking it could be that way, but Austria was putting up a little bit of a fight though. They were getting a couple of shots here and there, but sadly, Yegor Shinnikov would get taken down on the breakaway, and this is a bit more scary. He falls into the boards, his right foot gets caught on the boards there. I don't know, he didn't come back for the rest of the game. He didn't take the penalty shot. Obviously, Rodion Amarov would, and he would make no mistake blasting a glove side on Jakub Branner, who's coming in for Ronishitz. He's not going to be starting 3 games in a row. That's too much for him. They need to have him rest a little bit. And a little bit later, another player is getting scrutinized, mainly by the Canucks Twitter side of things, Vasily Podkolzin. He'd come in here and absolutely wire one of his own. His first goal of the tournament, top right there, put the Russians up 2-0. He was not even done there later in the period to make it 3-0 Podkolzin. Once again, this was a nice little one. He controls Artemi Nazev's shot pretty well, and he brings it to the forehand just to bury it to make it 3-0. And then on this next one here, for a second, everyone thought Vasily Podkolzin had the natural hat-trick, but it was Marat Husnutdinov who would bury it on the line, and I wouldn't say steal it. I think the puck was going to stop, but he makes it 4-0. And then just near the end here, we see Austria. They were pushing. This was honestly the best period I think they played in the entire tournament, and they were nearly rewarded for it. Lucas Thaler would ring one off the crossbar with a couple minutes to go, and man, like that was the closest the Austrians have come to a goal. Maybe they'd be rewarded in the second, and that they were. Look at this one here. To make it 4-1, Senna Peters off of the little dish from Marco Kasper. I'm more intrigued by Senna Peters, how he was able to get that stick lift and then get the puck and then quickly fire that away. It was actually a pretty nifty goal to give the Austrians their first goal of the tournament. Yeah, this was just lovely. At this point in the game too, they already hit double digits in shots, and if you guys got to remember here, in the 2 games they already played combined, they had 16, and here they already have 10. Like, yeah, no, it was really good for them. After this too, head coach Roger Bader was sending out what I like to call the Austria line, the combination of Marco Kasper and Marco Rossi and Senna Peters. These guys were actually like keeping it in the Russian zone for the rest of the game. They were doing a magnificent job. I love to see it, especially since Marco Kasper can be in this tournament for at least 3 more years. Man, it's exciting stuff to see. It was awesome. Not everything would last in the third period though. Artemi Natsev would absolutely just leave one that flutters, but it was aimed perfectly, finds the bottom right corner. And then in baseball fashion, Yegor Afanasayev would bat it out of the air to make it 6-1. That was a nice goal though. Mikhail Abramov hit the post there, but yeah, Afanasayev just absolutely cleaning it up. And then with pretty much a minute and a half to go, Arseny Gritsuk put salt in the wounds with an absolute laser, challenging Guli for the hardest shot I've seen in the tournament. That one was an absolutely beautiful one. The game would end 7-1 for the Russians to get the victory. I wouldn't rip on the Russians too much. The third period, they kind of showed that they were the kings. In the second period, it was kind of all Austria, and everyone was kind of cheering for Austria. But yeah, if we're talking about Austria, like, you can't rip on them at all for this game. 18 shots, that's more than they had in the 2 games combined. They only had 50 shots on them this time. That's pretty good. That's a little bit of an improvement. And yeah, they were just competing way better. They're getting zone time, they're getting shots, their young guys are doing stuff, they're stepping up, they're making some hits. It was just nice to see Austria finally show that they can kind of compete, especially since everyone is just ripping on these guys like mad, saying they shouldn't be in the tournament. This is absolute bullcrap. They're actually wondering, they're like, how'd they even get here, even though they got in here fair and square. Man, just let them play in the World Juniors here. Let them gain experience from this. A lot of these guys are never going to get an opportunity like this ever again. And look, they're on the world stage. It's a shame that there's no fans in the crowd, because these guys would be getting cheered on like mad if it weren't for all this COVID crap. But without hesitation, let's just hop into the top players. We're all done today. First one is obviously going to be Quinton Byfield. After all of the ridiculing, man, 6 points, 2 goals, 4 assists, absolutely dominant performance against Switzerland. If anyone finds anything to be mad about with him from now on, like, Jesus, just shut your mouth. And then up next, it's going to be Bobby Brink. I don't want to choose Zegras because I don't think Zegras would have been able to do what he was doing if it weren't for Brink breaking open the scoreless game in the second period there. I think that's what really brought the Czechs down, and yeah, just another one too to put icing on the table. You need players like that to get the dirty ones. And then third, it's going to be Podkolzin for his 3-point night there. Obviously, everyone on Canucks Twitter is absolutely raving that he's at least showing that he can score goals. They were some nice goals, and that's why he's there in the top players. Without him, I don't know if Russia wouldn't even been able to contain Austria, man. Austria was just buzzing. And yeah, that'll be it for tonight. We got 3 more games tomorrow, including Germany and Switzerland in their final games. That's going to be the fight for who is at the bottom of Group A. We got Russia and Sweden. We got Sweden's, 54-game win streak on the line. That's going to be a tough one. And then Finland versus Slovakia. Finland's last game until they played Canada on the 31st. All right, I hope you guys had a good day of watching hockey again. And we're going to be right here, same time, maybe. We'll have to wait and see. But anyways, have a good night, guys. See you tomorrow.